You think you are holding your phone. You think you are scrolling by choice. You think you are connected, informed, entertained, but you're not. You are being kept asleep. You are being fed. You are being studied. You are being shaped. This world you move through, this endless feed of images, updates, alerts, and noise, it is not a tool you use. It is a system that uses you. The digital matrix is not a movie. It is the invisible architecture of modern life. A network built to harvest one thing: your attention, your time, your identity, your future. Every scroll is recorded. Every click is analyzed. Every hesitation becomes data. And with each piece of data, the system grows smarter, not for your benefit, but for your obedience. There was a time when technology served humanity. Now humanity serves technology. We don't use our devices, we live inside them. We don't shape our desires, they're engineered for us. We don't explore the world, we consume the one we're given. And the most disturbing part, the prison doesn't need walls. It only needs your addiction. Every notification is a leash. Every message is a hook. Every suggestion is a subtle nudge pulling you deeper into a reality you did not choose. Algorithms have become your invisible rulers. They decide what you see, what you believe, what you fear, what you crave, what you chase, what you avoid. The digital matrix is not designed to free you. It is designed to occupy you, to keep your mind too busy to question the world around you, and too distracted to notice the world within you. When you are scrolling, you are not living. When you are liking, you are not choosing. When you are consuming, you are not awakening. Because the system's greatest achievement is convincing you that the screen is harmless, just entertainment, just convenience, just passing time. But time is your life. And when the system takes your time, it takes your life in pieces. One tap, one swipe, one notification at a time. You are not trapped by force. You are trapped by comfort, by the ease of digital pleasure, by the illusion of connection, by the constant stimulation that keeps your mind too occupied to remember who you were before the system programmed who you would be. Ask yourself something no one in the digital matrix wants you to ask. When was the last time I was alone with my own thoughts without reaching for the screen? The silence terrifies people now, because the silence is the only place where you can hear the truth. You are losing yourself. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, efficiently, the way a machine drains a battery without you noticing until it's almost gone. This is the digital prison, the cage you don't see because you're staring at the lock as if it were a window. And once you understand this, something inside you stirs. A question emerges, one the system cannot afford you to ask. If the digital world controls my attention, what controls me? The digital matrix does not control you by force. It controls you by extraction, quiet, constant, invisible. It takes pieces of you, bits of your attention, bits of your emotion, bits of your identity, and turns them into profit. Every second you spend online, you are being harvested. Not your money, not your time, something far more valuable, yourself, your preferences, your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, your triggers, your desires. These are not random. They are data points, raw materials for a system that feeds on human behavior the way a machine feeds on electricity. Here is what they don't tell you. You are not the user, you are the product. Every app, every platform, every algorithm competes for the same resource, your attention, because attention is the gateway to your subconscious. Where your attention goes, your identity follows. And once the matrix controls your attention, it begins the extraction, rewriting your impulses, reshaping your desires, reprogramming your values through repetition, so subtle you mistake it for your own voice. This is why the feed feels endless, not because there is too much content, but because the system is designed to keep your mind too occupied to remember it wants freedom. Every like gives the system insight. Every hesitation refines your profile. Every emotion reveals your vulnerability. And with each vulnerability, the matrix adjusts, learning you, predicting you, manipulating you with a precision no human mind can detect. You are shown what keeps you scrolling. You are shown what keeps you compliant. You are shown what keeps you consuming. Not what uplifts you, not what grows you, not what awakens you. The matrix doesn't want you awake. Awake people think. Awake people question. Awake people unplug. So instead it gives you comfort, convenience, confirmation, dopamine. Tiny hits of pleasure that keep you returning to the screen like a moth circling a digital flame. And here is the darkest truth. The matrix does not care who you are. It only cares that you never become someone it cannot predict, because predictable people are profitable, controllable, trackable. But once you begin to wake up, once you begin to sense the extraction, the system notices, it reacts, it tightens its grip, it floods you with noise, it distracts you with stimulation, it overwhelms you with content, all to stop you from asking the one question that would free you instantly. If the matrix is studying me, why don't I study it back? The extraction can only continue as long as you remain unconscious. But you are not unconscious anymore. You are beginning to feel the walls. You are beginning to notice the patterns. You are beginning to see the digital strings that guide your thoughts and actions. This awareness is not an accident. It is the first sign that your mind is waking up, and the matrix fears an awakened mind. Because once you see how it works, you can break its influence. You can reclaim your attention. You can reclaim your identity. You can reclaim yourself. But to do that, you must learn the mechanics of the trap, how your reality is shaped, how your thoughts are influenced, how your desires are engineered. And that is where we go next. The digital matrix does not need force. It does not need threats. It does not need violence. It only needs dopamine. A single chemical released in tiny, repetitive bursts is enough to control billions of people without them ever noticing. This is the brilliance of the system. It hijacks biology. It rewires instinct. It manipulates the primitive parts of your mind, the parts built for survival, and attaches them to screens. Your brain was designed for reward, for progress, for purpose. But the matrix learned to simulate these things with digital illusions. A like is not connection, but it feels like it. A notification is not validation, but it feels like it. A new video is not discovery, but it feels like it. And the feeling is all the system needs. Here is the truth most people never learn. The matrix does not control your thoughts. It controls what you think about. That is enough, because the human mind follows its focus, and the system controls your focus with surgical precision. Every swipe delivers the exact stimulus your subconscious is sensitive to, not by accident, by calculation. Pain points, fears, interests, jealousies, insecurities. These are levers, pulled quietly, relentlessly, to keep you hooked. The matrix manipulates you in 3 layers. 1, attention. It shows you what you can't ignore: anger, beauty, controversy, pleasure, comparison. These are survival triggers. Your brain cannot look away. 2, emotion. Once it has your attention, it alters your emotional state. This is why you feel anxious, restless, impatient, empty after long sessions online. Not because you are weak, but because the system is engineered to destabilize you emotionally, so you remain dependent on the next digital hit. 3, identity. This is the final step, the deepest layer, the most dangerous. If the system can influence who you think you are, it no longer needs to influence what you do. Identity is the master program. Rewrite that, and the rest falls automatically into place. What kind of identity does the matrix want you to have? One that keeps you consuming, one that keeps you scrolling, one that doubts itself, one that needs approval, one that fears missing out, one that feels incomplete without the constant stimulation of the screen. This is why comparison is everywhere online. This is why outrage is rewarded. This is why insecurity is profitable. Because a calm, sovereign mind cannot be controlled, but an insecure one can be controlled endlessly. And the greatest manipulation is this: the matrix convinces you that the thoughts it injected were yours all along. You think you chose your desires. You think you formed your opinions. You think you built your personality. But how much of that came from you? And how much came from the screen that trained you to crave attention instead of purpose, dopamine instead of meaning, distraction instead of awareness? The system does not hide. It distracts. It overwhelms. It keeps you too busy reacting to ever notice you are being programmed. But you are noticing now. You feel the manipulation. You feel the pull. You feel the quiet theft of your time, your mind, your identity. This is not a failure. This is the beginning of your liberation. Because once you see the manipulation, you regain the power to disconnect from it. And the next phase is the most important of all: extraction from the identity the matrix built for you. To escape the digital matrix, you must reclaim the one thing the system cannot survive without: your awareness. And that is where we go next. Liberation doesn't come from deleting your apps. It doesn't come from throwing away your phone, or escaping to a cabin in the woods, or pretending technology is the enemy. Liberation comes from remembering who you are outside the influence of the system. Because the matrix doesn't imprison your body, it imprisons your attention. And once your attention returns to you, the chains fall off silently, one by one. The first step is awareness, not judgment, not guilt, just awareness. Awareness that the pull you feel is not desire, it's conditioning. Awareness that the scrolling is not choice, it's reflex. Awareness that the anxiety is not your personality, it's withdrawal from digital dopamine. You can't escape what you don't understand, but now you understand. Now you see the trap. And the moment you see it, you begin to reclaim the key. Liberation begins with a simple practice. 1. Interrupt the loop. Every time you feel the urge to check your phone, pause for 3 seconds. 3 seconds is enough to break the automatic behavior and return you to consciousness. Not because 3 seconds is magical, but because it reminds you, I choose. 2. Reclaim your attention. Your attention is your life. Where it goes, you go. Spend the first moments of your day with yourself, not the feed, not the noise, not the illusions of other people's lives. Your mind should not wake up inside the matrix. 3. Redirect your dopamine. The matrix steals your dopamine by giving you tiny hits that lead nowhere. So you take it back by creating your own rewards: movement, stillness, breathing, learning, creating, focusing. Activities that return dopamine to its natural rhythm instead of the artificial spikes that keep you addicted. 4. Rebuild your identity. This is the deepest part. The matrix shaped who you thought you were by controlling what you saw, what you compared, what you feared, what you desired. Now you rewrite the script. Who am I when the noise is gone? Who am I without validation? Who am I beyond the feed? These questions crack the digital shell the system built around your mind. As you practice this, you'll notice something incredible. The world around you begins to slow down. Your thoughts feel clearer. Your emotions feel cleaner. Your energy returns. Your creativity returns. Your intuition returns. You realize the digital matrix never made you stronger. It made you distracted. Once the distraction dissolves, your power resurfaces. Liberation is not dramatic, it is subtle. It arrives quietly, like waking up from a dream you didn't know you were in. You'll feel it the first time you go an hour without checking your phone and your mind doesn't panic. You'll feel it when you scroll and suddenly recognize, this is designed to trap me. You'll feel it when you watch the world and no longer feel controlled by it. When you realize the screen is not reality and never was. The most beautiful part of liberation is what comes next. You rediscover the parts of yourself the matrix pushed into silence. Your purpose, your depth, your imagination, your intuition, your potential. These are the parts of you the system fears most, because awakened individuals cannot be controlled. They cannot be predicted. They cannot be programmed. And once you reach this stage, you are ready for the final step, the moment when liberation turns into mastery. This is not just escaping the matrix. This is learning to command the world instead of being commanded by it. And now, we move to the final transformation. Escaping the digital matrix doesn't end with awareness. It begins with command. Because liberation without direction leads back to the same distractions, the same patterns, the same invisible chains. To stay free, you must step into the one thing the matrix cannot predict, cannot manipulate, cannot control: your sovereign identity. Command is the point where you stop responding to the world and begin directing it, where your mind becomes your own again, and the screen becomes a tool instead of a master. Here is what command looks like. 1. You command your attention. Your attention is no longer stolen by notifications, impulses, or algorithms. You decide where your mind goes. You decide what enters your awareness. You are no longer a passenger. You are the driver. 2. You command your identity. The matrix can only shape the lost, but you are not lost anymore. You know who you are. You know what you value. You know what you're building. Your identity is no longer assembled from comparison, insecurity, or digital noise. It rises from within you, stable, grounded, unshakable. 3. You command your inputs. You choose your information with intention. You choose what you consume with discernment. You choose what influences your mind instead of letting the algorithm decide who you become. 4. You command your future. The moment you disconnect from the digital hypnosis, your real life returns. Your time returns. Your creativity returns. Your direction returns. Most people cannot imagine this freedom because they have never tasted it. But you are different now. You have seen behind the curtain. You have seen how the system works. And you have something the matrix cannot steal once you claim it: awareness. Awareness transforms everything. It disrupts the old patterns. It silences the false desires. It dissolves the illusions. With awareness, you choose the life you live instead of consuming the one you're given. And here is the truth the system never wanted you to learn. You do not defeat the matrix by fighting it. You defeat it by refusing to feed it. Every time you choose presence over distraction, clarity over noise, purpose over stimulation, consciousness over habit, you weaken its control and strengthen your own. Now listen closely. This is the moment that decides everything. You must choose the identity the matrix cannot control, the identity that is awake, the identity that is aware, the identity that is sovereign. Say this to yourself, not as a wish, but as a declaration. My mind is my own. My attention is my own. My life is my own. I choose reality over illusion. I choose awareness over distraction. I choose myself over the matrix. Feel the weight of those words. Feel them settle in your chest as a new signal radiating outward. Because from this moment forward, you are not escaping the matrix. You have already escaped it. and the system that once controlled you now fears you, because awakened individuals cannot be programmed. Walk into your life with clarity, with intention, with sovereignty. The world is still loud, the screens are still glowing, the algorithms are still watching, but you are untouchable now. You see the game, you know the rules, and you choose not to play. This is freedom. This is power. This is consciousness. This is your mind shift.